Okay, so welcome to our
This is very exciting
podcast. It's very exciting. Our very first guest, Sarah.
Oh, am I? Your first guest.
Yes,
Very
welcome.
first guest. So thank you so much, Sarah. And you and I know each other from a different life that is outside of Cinch. You are one of my PR clients. I'm a PR consultant in another life. And you and I have been doing some work together on your little sunflower project. So do you just want to tell everybody a little bit about background about Little Sunflower and how you've got to this point and what exactly it is you do?
Well, Little Sunflower, which is what's behind me, it's an early intervention emotional well-being program, which is aimed at primary school children ages 6 to 10. And the idea is that we teach children life skills from a young age, life skills in resilience and self-esteem, so that we help them grow into confident, emotionally rounded adults, because the mental health issues that are happening now are just horrendous, and it's getting worse year on year, especially since the new millennium. And children's mental health is getting worse and worse. And then COVID didn't help. And the average age for mental health issues now is down as low as 11.
Oh my gosh, it's frightening. I have an 11-year-old and the whole thing just terrifies me.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's from your own personal story. That's how you came across this, isn't that right? You came to this point.
Yeah, well, I was very shy child, it's just like a rabbit caught in the headlights. And my mom always sent me to speech and drama classes from a young age. And I always felt that it was the only time in the week that I felt visible, it was like my little hour each week to shine, that I just suddenly became confident. I loved it. And then I trained as a drama teacher, and I did that for over 10 years. And it was during that time that I used to think to myself, I'm only giving the children a facade of confidence. It was like a front you could see behind their eyes, and in here in their heart, that the confidence wasn't there. And I understood it fully, because I still felt the same. I knew that it just wasn't. There was something I wasn't doing right. It was all, you put them on the stage in exams or a fesh or whatever, and they'd get up and they'd do what you wanted. And then afterwards, just like me, they just kind of shrink back again.
Back into their wee shell.
Into their mask they put on.
Yeah. So I then stopped teaching, and I decided I was getting frustrated, because I knew I wasn't doing it right. And I can't do this. So I then retrained as an actor. I went to London, and I spent 18 months in London doing a postgrad. And we did an awful lot of work during that year, as well as training to be an actor. They do an awful lot of mental health counseling, psychotherapy type thing, because if you are trying to be another person, you have to be able to think like that person. What makes them tick? What layers of their personality has led them to be and do the things that they do? So I found it really fascinating. So I spent a lot of time, even afterwards. It wasn't an area that I was familiar with. And I thought, God, psychology is really interesting. So I spent a lot of time reading, searching, spending time educating myself and trying to figure out what made me tick. Why did I do the things, the good things and the bad things, the things that annoyed me and that I was compulsive about? Why did I do these things? And why did I behave and react and act the way I did? And I tried to figure out the background to that, because the premise is that we are what we are, and we do what we do because of the grounding we've had since we were children, that we've learned these skills and these, what makes us tick, basically. And it's just, there are layers upon layers upon layers. We're like onions, and we just keep layering up. With every experience adds another layer to our personality. You might find that you react in a certain way to somebody that on a regular basis, and if you're out and you meet a complete stranger and they maybe speak to you the same way, you might find yourself reacting to them the way you would to the other person, because it's triggered something inside of you. So I found that really fascinating. So I worked in the industry as an actor then until my son was born, and then I gave it up to be with him, because obviously I didn't want to go out and about and not be home till midnight or away at 6 o'clock in the morning and all that. So I concentrated then on doing voiceover work. so that I could
Wow.
work for radio and TV, etc. And then I started to write. I got the opportunity to write, so radio drama and documentaries and things, and then I wrote a novel. And then during that time, my son was at school, and I got back in with kids again. And I started to think, gosh, nothing's changed. The children are still the same as they always were.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
So
because they don't teach anything like this at school.
They don't, because no, that's what teachers actually have said to me, that we're not trained. We get information and we're told the children need this, but we're not trained in how to teach, how to apply it effectively in the classroom. So that got me thinking, and I thought, well, if I wrote these little stories, and then a government body kind of said, you know, there's an interest, this is interesting, let's see what we can do. So it's gradually over the last number of years had help in different studies and going to trade shows and testing it, etc. And then it built up to, and then of course I added tapping in there, EFT, because it's a very simple skill, and it's something that children can learn very easily. And the characters in Little Sunflower teach them how to tap to help with their mental health. So.
And it's something I've come across before. Have you ever come across EFT?
Yes, I have. Yes. Yes, for anxiety, which was really good and really, really helpful as well.
Yeah, it's got its origins in Chinese medicine, isn't that right, Sarah?
That's right. Yes, it's basically like acupuncture. They use the same meridian points the body has in ancient Chinese. They have meridians, and the acupuncture, when they put needles in these meridian points. So tapping, EFT, emotional freedom technique, also known as tapping, because you tap on certain parts of the body. What you do then is you tap gently on these meridian points, and that can help to change how you think, how you feel, why you do things. You can just miraculously stop doing it, and it's been that
everybody can do it. It's free. Everybody can do it. It's free, and as soon as you start getting those feelings, you can just something you can do anywhere at any time.
Before you go on stage, before you open the fridge and stuff your face, before going a driving test, before you get on an airplane. It has so. And I personally had used it. We have a friend who's a natural health practitioner, Roisin Armstrong, fantastic girl, and I had been to her before for stress. I remember it was when I was moving house and other issues and things like that, and she did the tapping. It was the first time I ever came across it, and it was so powerful. It was just, you know, I instantly felt better. And she messaged me that night, how are you feeling now? I was like, I feel like a different person. It's that I can't really begin to describe how something so powerful has such a profound effect. And then when you and I worked together, Sarah, you mentioned it and you said, I'm sure you've never heard of this, Angela, EFT. I was like, I have heard of it and I'm a massive fan. Tell me more. How did you get into it? And then that's where we've kind of, you know, had a conversation. You know, the ladies in our Cinch FAST 30 could really benefit from tapping. It's something we can all do, and it's just tapping into your own body's power and our own energy source, and it is backed up by science and medical research, isn't it? So you tell us a little bit about that.
So the NICE, the National Institute for something excellence. I can't remember the word. No, it's not the National Institute for. I did write it down if I can find it. National Institute for Healthcare Excellence. Okay, healthcare excellence. So what they do is they test everything and prove its worth before the NHS uses it. So it's
not just woo-woo nonsense.
And so the NHS do recommend
tapping,
and they use it.
There's a number of hospitals use it, and occupational therapists use it, and I actually know some CAMS practitioners that wouldn't be without it. And they said they've actually said, one lady said to me that she believes it should be mandatory in schools. That all children should be doing this because she uses it, and a lot of children feel a bit silly when they start to do this. What is this thing? But she maintains that if they were doing it in the schools, by the time they get to her, a lot of them wouldn't need to get to her because it will be handled through the tapping in school.
They would know about it.
And they would also know about it. Those that really need the help will get to her a lot quicker, and they would be aware of it already, and they would be halfway there because they would be used to doing it, and she would be able to get to the root of that issue, whatever it happens to be, a lot quicker.
That is crazy.
Absolutely.
And what any little case studies that you've had firsthand experience of how you've seen it change people's lives and make positive change?
Well, certainly for myself, when I started tapping about 7 years ago that I started doing this, and I did a couple of courses on it, and my first experience I had to, well, it was about an hour away that I went to it, and it was for 2 days. And I remember, I don't actually remember driving home. I floated home. I was high as a kite. It was the most
we need this. We need this in our lives.
It's the most incredible feeling, but I think you have to be ready for it, and you have to be open to
definitely
accepting change, and are willing to release blockages. I know,
Yes.
you know, you have mentioned about eating and food, etc. And I don't know, like certainly I would, you know, might fancy some chocolate, and I would have a certain amount of chocolate, and then think, yeah, no, that's too sweet. I need something savory now just to balance it out. So then I go and have something savory, and then think, nah, I need a little something sweet now just to get rid of that savory taste. And it's just
that is so true.
It's a vicious circle. It is,
and we're all caught in it,
We
and
are.
we're ruled by our hormones, we're ruled by boredom, we're ruled by not knowing the difference between thirst and hunger and habit, and there's so many different things we're fighting against.
And I know from myself, from having done that I now no longer have food cravings. I
emotionally
wipe that out. I don't emotionally eat. I eat when I'm hungry, and that's it.
Exactly.
And I say no to chocolate, and I say no to dessert, and then just say, no, I've had enough. I don't want any more. I don't try. I don't continue to stuff it in because it's in front of me. So it's and I put that down to tapping, the work that I've done on tapping.
That is incredible.
But I do think you're right. People do have to make that commitment in their head that they have, you know, that they want to change and they want to look at eating differently. And then this is something that can just really help them on their journey then as another tool.
And trust it. Know that the NHS has endorsed it. The NHS does not endorse anything that is even slightly, you know, they have to believe in it to endorse it. So be open-minded, trust it, and be committed to it. So give us an example. I'm sure people listening are going, what are they talking about?
How do you do it?
Give us a little example.
Okay. Okay, let me see now. If you were to say somebody that's just that eats too much chocolate, we'll say, and just wants to stop their chocolate. So what you do first of all is you would just tap or rub very gently on the side of your hand. And you create a sentence by the person that you're working with. They make it up. So we'll say if they said, you know what, I just eat too much chocolate and I hate myself. So even though I eat too much chocolate and I sometimes hate myself for that, I deeply love and accept myself. So
my heart went funny there.
Even that gentle tapping, it does really make you feel calm. Just that gentle tapping.
Is that a little meridian point? Is that like
that is there, the karate chop there on the side of your hand. So you would do this 3 times. So even though I eat too much chocolate and I feel bad afterwards and hate myself sometimes and I think I hate myself, I completely love and accept myself. And then we go again, even though I eat too much chocolate and I hate myself afterwards, I deeply love and accept myself. And once you've done that 3 times, then we move to the top of the head. Well, you can't see my hand now because I've disappeared. So,
like a ghost.
So it's like eating too much chocolate.
Eating too much chocolate.
Yeah. I eat too much chocolate.
I eat too much chocolate.
2
fingers or 3 fingers?
Well, 2 fingers, just there. So the corner of the eyebrow there. Sorry, I eat too much chocolate. And then over here to the side of the eye, far too much chocolate.
Far too much chocolate.
And
then under the eye, I gorge on chocolate.
I gorge on chocolate.
Yeah.
I sometimes hate the way I feel.
Yeah. Or it doesn't make me feel good. Or
I don't feel good.
Yeah.
How many times you just tapping?
You just tapping 5, 6, 7 times, just and then too much chocolate, and then your collarbone. Too much chocolate on your collarbone, and then under the armpits, or on your bra strap.
Okay.
Too much chocolate.
Too much chocolate.
And then, so you kind of work with, you would ask the person, first of all, are they happy with these words? Does it suit? So that's just one round. And then you go back to rubbing here in between that ring finger, because this hand, ring finger and the little finger, and that joint in there, and you just rub gently on that and see how you feel. So what I didn't do, and I should have done, was to ask you how you feel about that gorging on chocolate before, but then we're not really working with the client.
No.
So
Yeah.
Yes.
you would start off by saying, how do you feel about that? So they might say 6, 7, 8, whatever it happens to be, out of 10. And then you do the round, and then you come back and ask again to see if it's dropped any. So the idea is to get it down to 0.
Okay.
So then you would repeat it again.
And then you repeat it again, but as you repeat it and as you go through it, more and more things will start to pop up
Okay.
in that person's head. So they might say, actually, that triggered a memory of a couple of years ago when I was in a place, and I remember sitting in the car and stuffing in 4 bars of chocolate before the children got out of school. And I felt really
And feeling
to go again, even though I sat in the car and shoveled in 4 bars of chocolate before the children got out of school. I accept
the real thing.
Yeah.
So
I've done it.
you will do that. Yeah, I think we've all done it. You would you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and more layers of memory will pop up and up and up. And what you're doing then is eradicating, releasing, and letting go. And then you probably find yourself, you could bring it back to, it could come back to, actually, I remember now when I was about 5, somebody not letting me have chocolate.
Yeah.
And then I did get some chocolate one day, and I took about 4 bars because I was afraid that I wasn't going to get any more because it wasn't allowed it the last day. And you'll find that was the trigger.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite amazing how something so simple. So you just keep working and working, and it's amazing. It's like, oh, I don't want chocolate anymore. Wow.
Yeah.
So you get to that point through doing a series of this tapping after you get to the point, oh, I've just realized what it was.
Yes, but
you
may not get to that. You could get to it after 1 round, but you might need to do a few sessions, you know, and just keep working on it and working on it. And then other things will pop up in the meantime as well.
And so people do that. So if they get a craving, so in the evening, they sit down and they usually, open the biscuits or whatever. So instead of opening the biscuits, then they should start their tapping.
Even though I really want to open this tin of biscuits and eat about a dozen.
Yeah.
I totally love and accept myself. And then even though that tin of biscuits is really winking at me and I just want to open it up and shovel them in.
Yes.
I totally love and accept myself. And then you do that 3 times, then you go through the tin of biscuits, really want them, want to shovel them in, want to eat as many as I can. And you go through that, and you will find if you do that a few times that you will kind of release
craving. Hopefully
that craving will reduce a bit, and just give it 10 or 15 minutes, and then if it starts to come back again, have another go. And you will.
Wow.
It's really powerful.
Brilliant.
So just to talk through that, so you do it on the hands here. So how many times? So even though I want to eat a giant packet of chicken in time sensations, this is a real life problem I have, all to myself, and then I feel disgusting and obese. I love and accept myself just as I am.
Yes, you can say I deeply love, I profoundly love and accept myself as I am, or just I accept myself. Yeah.
And
then I go to up here.
Yeah, but you do this 3 times here.
3 times, okay, and then I start up here.
The head.
Even though, same kind of thing. Even though I want to eat all the
crisps. No, that's just then packet of crisps.
Packet of crisps.
Chicken and chives. Chicken and chives. Ramming them in. I want to lick the bag.
Them all in. Oh, none for anybody else. All me.
I want to
get your hands off them.
I could have 2 or 3 bags. Chicken and time crisps.
And then where we're
on the shoulder blades, just underneath the shoulder blades. Lovely crisps.
Lovely crisps. This just makes me want more
and more crisps. And then
more crisps.
You could go around again. I feel bad, feeling bad when I eat the crisps.
Feeling bad when I eat the crisps.
They're not good for me.
They're not good for me. Yeah, they're not good for me.
They're not good for me.
Anything else? What else is coming up in your mind?
They're going to make me fat.
They're going to make me fat.
They're going to make me look fat.
And they're going to make me feel disgusting.
I'll feel disgusting.
Yeah.
I'll feel disgusting.
Feeling fat.
Feeling fat.
Feeling disgusting.
Feeling sick. Always feel sick after them.
Feeling sick.
Oh, especially a family bag.
That's a family bag.
Family bag. Definitely feel sick.
Feeling sick. Feeling
sick. Feeling sick. Feeling remorseful.
Feeling remorseful. Yeah.
Okay. And then just keep going until you feel like you've got it out of
Until
you.
you've kind of released that.
Yeah, and you
Probably
could
sit for 4 hours.
you could do it again if you need it. Just when you go back to this tapping and this setup sentence, you will probably need to change it. You might not, but you probably will need to change it because you'll feel differently about it. And the whatever words come into your head are,
your
they're
triggers, maybe, or
they're the right words. Trust yourself. But it's to do it right. You kind of need to, I suppose, learn about it too.
Yes, of course.
That you get it right. So, but you can obviously read about it. There's information online and things like that, and there are courses you can.
But it is fascinating once you've got it, and you can use it for so many things in your life, and help your children and even family members. So once you actually learn about it and have got to grips with it, you can use it to help so many areas.
I remember my mum was very upset, obviously, after my granny died about 10, 11 years ago. And I sent her to Roisin because she couldn't stop crying at the time. She was so upset. And after she went to Roisin, the natural health practitioner, she did EFT on her. And I said to my mum the next day, well, how do you feel? And she said, I feel so much better. She did this emotional freedom technique thing on me, and I feel so much better. And it was the first time my mum could speak about it without crying. And she said, I don't know what she did, but I just felt
like a release,
nanny go, or so even for things like grief, and it is so interesting. That it's almost like reprogramming your mindset.
And anything we can do that's free, anything that you can do that's free and doesn't contain drugs or anything else to treat these issues, this is something that we can learn to do.
We can all learn to do, whether it's overeating or over drinking. A lot of people have expressed an interest to drink less over Christmas. Is this something you could do for people who want to drink less? And how might you do that?
It's exactly the same concept. So even though I really want to drink this bottle of Prosecco, red wine, gin, whatever happens to be, I deeply love and accept myself. That's the same, it's exactly the same concept. Even if I really, really want to drink this bottle of Prosecco, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though the taste and the smell, you'd think that I drink Prosecco.
You're just going by what you've heard.
That's it. I just sort of heard it. Even though I really enjoy the taste and the scent and the aroma, and I really, really, really want to drink it, I deeply love and accept myself. And then we go to drinking Prosecco. And then too much Prosecco, and whatever words come into your head. I don't like myself.
I'm just thinking, could you imagine if your husband walks in and you're sitting doing this,
drinking Prosecco,
love the
bubbles, all the Prosecco.
It's like she's finally lost the plot now.
But it is incredible. And what other success stories have you seen? Because you've been working with children with this in particular, and adults in your own life. Give us a few more examples.
Yes. Well, a lady and I were working on each other last week, and it was my turn to work with her. And she had something that had been bothering her for 20 years. And she didn't tell me what it was. She just said she gave me the name. It's called the movie technique. And she gave me the name of her issue. She could give it a title, and we worked on it, and we worked on it for an hour. And then she told me that by the time we'd finished, she just felt it ebb away. And by the time she finished, she said literally 10 minutes later, she just fell asleep on the couch at 8 o'clock in the evening, and her husband kind of told her, come on, bed. And the next day she said she just woke up with, it was like an epiphany of, this is what I need to do to prevent this and this and this happening. And she went out and did it, and she hasn't had an issue with it since. And it's been bothering her for 20 years. So
20 years, that's incredible. Yeah, that's absolutely incredible.
Working with children, I find that extremely satisfying. One little fellow in particular that would have had more emotional needs. And he would find it difficult maintaining work in the classroom, and inability to concentrate and do work, and maybe home support wouldn't be there for him. And I did the tapping. We did the course every week for Little Sunflower when I was going to the schools. Pre the way it is, it's now digital, but prior to that, when I was going, and it was about a week, I would bring the toys, the characters with me, and he wouldn't tap on himself. He just refused to do it, but he would do it with the toy, the character. So he was getting the same benefit, but through the medium of the toy, and he'd sit and hug it. And then on week 4, because I would get them to choose positive words relevant to that particular story. So the first one's about shyness. So we pick words that are related to shyness and the opposite of shyness. And this week, the 3rd week, it was about being slower and not being able to maybe keep up with everybody else and do the things that everybody else can do. And he seemed to take something from that, because the following week he came in and the teacher said to me, he has something he needs to tell you. And he took this little piece of paper out of his pocket. It was all scrunched up. And I would do a different type of tapping with children. It would be much simpler and straightforward, with different tapping points and just something. It's an introduction really for them, and it's more positive. And he took out this scrap of paper from his pocket, and it had 14 words on it, because I would have done, and he counted out the points, that there were 14 points that he used. And he said, and I says, yo, what is it? And he says, I was thinking last week after you left that there were plenty of words that would describe me and that you didn't use them. And I says, okay. So he had asked the teacher for the iPad, which was something he never did. And he went off into a corner and he Googled words that mean the same as, and he had written down tremendous. I am tremendous. I am luminous.
Oh,
and he had this.
Me too. I'm gonna cry.
Made me want to cry.
Very emotional, yeah.
It was, and that's happened a few times with children, and a little boy that I worked with who is an autistic child, and he just isn't very communicative in many ways. And after week 3, he jumped up out of his seat, because the week was about being calm. And I asked, were there any other words that mean the same as calm? And he leapt out of his chair, and he was trying to say my names, and Sarah, quiet and still. Because these were words that mean a lot to him. He could associate with those words. So I couldn't even see the blackboard till the whiteboard.
Tears.
And I was like,
that is crazy.
So
and what do you think it is that is opening this up? Like, what is the science? Like, what is happening there?
Ancient Chinese meridians, this qi, and it's because we are made of energy. Basically, our whole bodies are made of energy, and we are, by doing this, we are opening up and redirecting our energy in a more positive way.
Instead of suppressing it, like, because we all suppress everything.
And just and we never actually even think about why we do things, or
to talk about stuff.
You just hide it away.
And
like, for instance, the overeating, you just do it. You don't ever address why.
You never chat to somebody about it or think about it, or you just
go to the cupboard and
just keep doing it.
Really interesting.
But we're doing that overeating. We've been doing it for years. So you have to. You can't just go, I eat too much, and then expect. Now you can
to be fixed overnight.
You can. Well, you can. For many people, you can fix yourself, and it can be amazing. But sometimes you need to dig a bit deeper and find out what those triggers were, what started this. So you might have to go back further and keep working at it, and eventually you will find that key point.
Wow. So how can people do this themselves? Is it just a matter of getting a quiet space and just starting it, or do you need to see a professional like yourself, or can you?
Well, you could do it yourself. I don't know how effective it would. You're probably better working with somebody to start you off, so you know what you're doing. Actually, if it's all right for me to say, I am furthering my training, and I'm actually looking for about 10 ladies
I'm sure, yeah.
the
I'm
new
sure some
year.
of our Cinch ladies would definitely be up for that.
What type
to
of people
do
are you looking for to work on any issue, or is it eating?
anything, eating, whatever it happens to be, that I would like to work with, maybe up to about 10 ladies for about 2 hours, 2 separate hours in the new year, free of charge, to help me with my development. So if there's any ladies out there,
Oh, that's very kind.
I would,
that would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
We'll give
Thank you
first
so
dibs
much.
to our
Yeah.
Cinch Fast 30 challengers. That's
Thank you.
excellent. That's so good. But so people tonight, if they're sitting and the chocolate sensations and the gin and tonic's calling you, you could just try it yourself as a little technique.
Yeah,
even
just
though
give it a go. You have nothing to lose.
Yes, just play it back, play this back, and listen to your technique, and
just trust in yourself and your ability to say no, and that you don't need it, and you don't want, it's that little niggle inside that's going, you want to take it, take it, take it.
Yeah, that little inner voice, that little voice we all have.
So that is something that you can, that's something you can acknowledge, even though this little voice in my head keeps niggling at me and telling me, eat it, drink it, eat it, drink it. And I hear it there, and it really bugs me. I totally and deeply love and accept myself. So you could, you could use that as a starting point. But it's whatever feels right to you.
Yes, your own personal sentence, I suppose, your own personal words you need to choose. Oh, brilliant.
Wow, we'll be doing this.
Amazing,
We'll be doing this all night now. This is fantastic. But I met a friend on Friday, and she said that she had a fear of flying. And I thought, I know the lady for you, Sarah Gilbert, can really help you. And that it is so transferable, isn't it?
Oh, it's transferable to anything. Yeah. But
situation.
By doing, I don't want to promote that everybody does this for themselves and they're going to, it's like anything. If you do it for yourself and you don't know what you're doing, you may not get the results that you want. So you probably, like anything, you're probably better getting help, working with somebody that knows what they're doing, or doing it.
Yes.
But you can, it's readily available to look up, and you can find out more about it and read more about it, certainly. But it's
just wondering, Sarah, is it possible to do like a group workshop, or is that something that, are you better on a one-to-one basis?
No, you can do group workshops, and if you are working with one person in that group, other people can benefit. So if if you're working on chocolate, chocolates, then everybody has the same issue with chocolate. If you work with one person, the other people there, they just follow along with what's going on, so that they're getting the benefit from it. So yes,
brilliant.
Yeah,
that's maybe something we consider.
Look at. Yeah,
you could maybe consider that in the new year, and just get a group of as a collective, and then you can do some one-to-ones.
So interesting. We could chat to you all day, Sarah, because it's like so interesting.
Like a whole, it's just the key. It's a different kingdom, instead of we're all about the natural alternatives. And this is so natural. It's free. It's easy. It's very simple when you explain it, but it's just not well enough known about yet. But we're hopefully, by this little podcast, we're going to help change that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it became more well known through the 1990s and into the new millennium. It started kind of in the 1970s, 80s, but it wasn't used very widely. A fellow called Gary Craig in the US. So he kind of developed it, and it's gradually spreading its wings and starting to filter around the world. But I think it's a perfect, simple technique or tool to teach children a life skill from a young age. Like, they all know how to swim and read and ride a bike and all of those things. So for a child to know how to do this, to manage their own feelings and build their own resilience and self-esteem, for me, that is the most important. Because the idea is that as we do it, that gradually it'll filter through over time, and when the children now are adults, that they'll have the confidence and the resilience inside to be able to help their own children. So it's a generational thing.
Absolutely. And they'll teach their parents as well.
That's fantastic.
Well, well done you for bringing it to children and to education and to us, and to our Cinch ladies and anybody listening to this. We'll put your contact details in afterwards. But if anybody's interested in doing the little one-to-ones, just drop us a line.
Please
thank you so much, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you.
You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.